welcome to the Wolfchase Toyota Insider. I'm Jeff Brightwell, joined by head coach Daron Schoenrock. And coach, finally back home in a conference season. And for those that don't, the fans that don't get travel, which is most fans this year, they got to experience really the first full 4-game series at home. We played a few at home this year where you had the 7-inning doubleheader, but you've experienced, whether you're home or on the road, and thankfully the home's a little bit better, 18 innings in a day to start off a series. That's a long Friday.
It's a long Friday, and what you try to avoid, Jeff, is having to go to the bullpen too soon. You want that first game starter to be able to, get 5 or 6 innings deep, and we've had our struggles doing that with some starters. We've had some bumps in the road early in contests that kind of put you a little bit behind the 8 ball the rest of the weekend. So getting the series off to a great start on Friday is really important, especially playing 2 of those 9-inning games. You've
always talked about maybe not winning the game, but making decisions early in a series about winning a series, and that's usually in 3-game series. But whether it's you or another team now, I mean, that's a good point. You fall behind by a big amount on that first game on a Friday, whether it's this weekend or any other weekend. Sometimes you almost have to think about, I'm not trying to concede the game, but I need to think about winning 3 other games or winning 2 games in a series, later that day and the rest of the weekend. It creates a lot of long-term decisions.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll make that bullpen decision based on what your offense looks like against their starting pitcher. If you think, okay, we give up 3 or 4 runs in the first 3 innings, we're down 4-1 or 4-0. If you got a feeling like, okay, I think we're going to get to this guy, we're going to have some moments where we can, he may be pitching behind in the count or walking a few guys, or we're barreling up a lot of balls. We're hitting some balls on the screws where he's not really fooling us that much. You might go to one of your better relievers going, okay, I'm going to roll the dice that the offense is going to find, they're going to find a way to scratch some runs on this guy. But if you're seeing that this guy that you're opposing is dominant, then you may throw some down the line relievers. And that's what we've done some. And, we've gotten some down, JT Durham has gotten in some games, Chris's younger brother, in that role. And it's good to see them. It's all building blocks for the future of this year and for the time being and for the future to come. So 4-game series are definitely interesting.
Coach, let's talk about a couple of your players over the weekend. First of all, let's talk about Hunter. The 4 home runs Friday were big. You kind of had to do it on. And the thing I'm impressed about Hunter this year is we talk about him coming in as a catcher, and would he end up being a catcher? Would his defense, would his mobility improve? And boy, right now he looks like, he's got the defense that we've seen out of, the Jason Santanas, the Phillip Chapmans we've seen here in the past, the Chris Kirklands. He's developed into that type of defensive catcher, and he's always had the bat. He really is, when you talk about him, really the complete package.
He really is. And those 3 guys, those 3 former players you mentioned, were all outstanding defensive catchers. And I don't know if Hunter is quite in the league where those guys were, but when you combine his offensive ability with those guys, it's a definite bona fide, top 3 or 4 catchers in the country. He's thrown at an extremely great rate. Our pitchers are getting a better feel for helping Hunter and hold the running game and giving him opportunities to throw guys out. Last year we saw him in the 17-game season, I think he caught 12 games. And so we had a little small sample size. It wasn't, stellar, but man, he has gotten in this turf room, Jeff, and worked off the machines and just glove position and holding pitches and blocking. And of course his throwing at a very good rate right now.
Well, if you can throw out Jace Mercer twice in a week, you're doing pretty good. He's one of the best, if not the best in the league.
Yeah, boy, he has turned into a great player, Jace Mercer has. And I remember his freshman year, he couldn't hit it over an infielder's head, and now he's turned him, just look at what experience does to a college player.
Another player let's talk about, Ian Bibiloni, in your win on Saturday. He really is responsible to me in that game. There are a lot of heroes, but he created a 5-run swing. He takes away the 3-run homer. Then the bottom of the inning, he gets up 3rd or 4th in that inning and gets a 2-run single. So that's a big 5-run swing, and you could kind of feel the momentum change when he made that catch. That got a lot of energy in the dugout.
It did, and and then he ended up scoring after he got that signal. So it's kind of a 6-run swing. Yeah. And the at bat that he had, Jeff, was off of one of their best relievers who came in a second and third situation, power fastball. And a lot of times guys are a little bit hesitant that, okay, we're going to see what a reliever does. I don't want to jump on, but he jumped on the first pitch. We had a game plan that, hey, if it's there, I'm going to smoke it up the middle. Bibbs is, he's a very mature player. You watch him in practice and when you watch him take BP, it's a professional looking BP. He'll spray balls to right field, then he'll go to the middle of the field. He has bat control plus bat speed. He's worked very hard. He came to us from junior college. He wasn't ready yet. He wasn't strong enough. We redshirted him. We basically chained him up in the weight room and said, stay over there for a year. He got stronger. He was off to a decent start last year, but he is he's probably one of our leading guys in what we call quality at bats. Now, the batting average doesn't show, the power's not doesn't show, but as far as execution of bunts, execution of hit and runs, getting runners over, barreling up balls, he's one of our leaders in quality at bats, and he's been a pleasant surprise this year.
And another guy that stood out to me this weekend, got his first home run of the year. But what impresses me is, especially this weekend, there are a lot of opposite field balls hit this weekend. And boy, Evan Bell, we know what kind of arm he's had, but he really can showcase his range this weekend.
Yeah, he's turned himself into a very good defensive outfielder, and it's really neat to see. He's leaving us. He's already accepted a job with FedEx, and he's gonna. We're gonna honor him on Senior Day here in a little bit, but finishing his masters too. He's gonna have his undergrad and his masters done. Just a role model, phenomenal example of the student athlete. Very, very little playing time for 3 years and just kept working as an everyday blue collar guy. And next thing you know, he's in the lineup. We can't get him out. Can't get him out of there because of what he does defensively. But he's coming up with some big at bats now too. So again, probably another case where hard work, and diligence and experience come together, and it turns into now he's becoming who he should be. And what a great teammate he is too.
Kind of reminds you of a Robbie Graham type that always, you knew had that potential, but he had to really grind for 3 years. And then he got that time really to shine his senior year.
Yeah, senior year, he just put it all together and put numbers on the board, and was a guy that you couldn't take out of the lineup. And there's times in Evan's career and in Robbie's career, you go, man, I don't know if it's ever going to come to the surface or not. But those are the guys. That's what makes coaching fun, is to see those things like that happen with guys.
Yeah, you turn around, you got Tulane coming into town this weekend. They're currently second in the league. So I know a big challenge, and that's your mirror opponent. So you've seen them 4 times already down in New Orleans.
Yeah, a lot of information on each other. There's no secrets. There's a lot of video footage. There's a lot of at bats. We jumped out of there and got game 1 down there. Blake was very good, and Brockhouse came in and slammed the door. It's going to be an interesting mix now because we're going to have Stinnett back as a potential starter, which is very encouraging. So there's a chance to eat up 5 or 6, 7 more innings than we could use down there. We didn't have Carson in that series, so I'm excited. I'm excited about getting them at home. They play on turf down there. They play with a lot of confidence, and I like to get the guys on dirt a little bit. The big thing is getting the series off to a good start on Friday.
Yeah,
they have dominant, high velocity arms. The lineup, I think they're not as complete package as East Carolina is, but they're still very good because of those arms, and they'll be hard to handle. I think they've had a series COVIDed out at South Florida, so they're a little bit down in number of conference games. So it'll be a great series, and excited to be back at home for another weekend.
All right, Coach, we'll see you out there.
Thanks, Jeff.
Head coach Daron Schoenrock. I'm Jeff Brightwell with the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.